But we have tried to make the preservation as a multi-purpose. We have tried the American Memorial, and we have tried practically every place that we feel would be comfortable to have a meeting, and this place is the only one that is available. Apparently there's all kinds of things that are going on with graduation and what have you. I don't know what they are, but all the nice places are taken tonight and tomorrow night. With that, maybe we should get this show on the road. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for being here tonight. I really appreciate your coming. And we're fortunate tonight to have the trustee at litem. As you may know, the court appointed a trustee at litem because we did not have a functioning board of trustees at the retirement fund. And there were all kinds of cases that were languishing in the court, and the court wanted to get things moving, and this is the reason why the court just went ahead and decided to appoint somebody who would be responsible acting in place of the board of trustees. As you know, our board of trustees are the policy-making body of the retirement fund. So the appointed trustee at litem has the authority to act as the board of trustees. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you, I know some of you have met him already, Mr. Joseph Rosano, the trustee at litem appointed by the court, and he's here with us tonight to speak to us about the court cases, where they are right now, their effort in trying to get money from the government, and a number of other things too. And we're also fortunate to have with us the attorney who has been involved in the court cases and representing the government. She's sitting beside Mr. Rosano, Ms. Patel. She's from the Attorney General's office. And of course, you have met Pangelinan, the acting executive director of the retirement fund. And right beside her is Viola, Alepuyo, who has joined the legal staff of the retirement fund. So with that, I would like to give the mic to Mr. Rosano, and he can get started by telling us what has happened or will be happening.
Well, good evening. For those of you who don't know, my name is Joseph Rosano, and I have been appointed as the trustee of litem for the retirement fund by Judge Gilbert. First, I'd like to say that it's been an honor and a privilege for me to serve in this capacity on behalf of the court, and that I want to specifically thank Ms. Pangelinan for all the support that her and the retirement fund bring to the trustee of litem. We could not do any of the work that we're doing without the fund staff. I can assure you that they work constantly and tirelessly to make sure that the numbers are the best that they can be, and that they support us in every way throughout the course of this litigation, which specifically is the Betsy Johnson case, but also with the other 14 cases that are going on. I'd also like to thank Mr. Cabrera for inviting me to come and speak to you. He asked if I've actually met with Mr. Cabrera and members of the CRA several times, but he wanted me to address all of you, or as many of you as possible, and so I appreciate him for inviting me. I invited Ms. Patel to come because I think there's some issues that I, as the trustee, cannot address. Only the government can address those issues, and Ms. Patel was gracious enough to accept that invitation and come and speak to you here tonight. Generally, I think the way we're going to handle this is we're going to open it up for questions, but I wanted to say a few things at the forefront to kind of try to minimize some of the questions, as Mr. Cabrera sent me some issues that he thought should be addressed, and in talking with my team, we thought there were some issues that we could address immediately. Everyone has heard and reads in the paper every day. I can't remember which paper, but one of the papers has the fund date ending, and it has a countdown every day. That date is a projected date, and it's based on the estimates of our experts. But I believe that while that date could be extended, today, without settlement, that should be the date that you understand is going to be the date that the fund will have no more money to disperse for benefits. So, not to make you nervous or scare you, but I think it would be appropriate that without settlement, you would make your plans, your financial plans, accordingly with respect to that date. I know everybody's concerned about settlement. What's the status, and where are we going with the fund? We're going to try, Ms. Patel and I will try to talk to you tonight about settlement, but Judge Ferris, as you know, has decided that this will be a confidential process in order to give the parties the ability to speak freely and talk about what they want to talk about during the course of settlement. So there will be some of your questions tonight that myself, Ms. Patel, and the staff that's with me will not be able to answer because of that. But we will try to give you an understanding of the status of it, where it's going, and some of the timelines that are going to be associated with settlement. If settlement is successful, let me say this, if settlement is successful, then the projected date of March 2014 will inevitably change. So let's say that Judge Ferris comes in, we're going to have the settlement conference June 24th through 26th. If in fact we are able to reach settlement, depending on the terms of the settlement, it is most likely that that date will change, and will most likely only change for the better. So settlement is a positive thing. In the event that settlement is not successful during Judge Ferris's meetings here on site, the parties have more or less given ourselves a self-imposed deadline of June 30th. And the court, for those of you who have been following the court case, has accepted that as a deadline, and the judge has issued a scheduling order accordingly with that deadline. And so all of the motions that are pending will be briefed between July 8th and July 15th, and all the pending motions will be heard August 5th and 6th here on site. The judge indicates that she's going to rule right away on these motions, and so we anticipate by the end of the first week of August, if in fact settlement is unsuccessful, there will be a more defined course of where the case will go. So I guess with the June 30th deadline, maybe we would meet again at sometime in July to answer additional questions with respect to whether settlement has been successful, whether settlement has failed, and what is the course that the case will be on based on those outcomes. What I want to inform you all of, and I'm sure most of you know, is that the government's obligations to the fund are essentially the benefits that we have to pay out every year, plus the actuarial determined rates. So to boil that down into very simple numbers, basically the fund pays out roughly $72 million worth of benefits per year, which comes down to about $6 million per month. And unless the government makes some sort of promise, guarantee, legislature makes an appropriation of $72 million, there is going to be a shortfall with respect to the benefits. essentially, what the fund really has, and to make this as simple as possible, is you have a cash flow problem. There is not enough cash coming in order to pay the benefit liabilities that are going out. And so that problem has to be addressed by the legislature or some other appropriation made by the legislature. So really the bottom line to me, and I think to you, is that we don't really, it's not a fund problem. The fund doesn't have a problem. What we have is really a funding problem. We have a problem that means we need to have more cash coming in and either less cash going out or the same amount of cash going out in order to avoid what inevitably will be a benefit deferment or, in a worst case scenario, is just no more money to pay the benefits out. So I guess I would ask all of you who are voters that you need to address this problem as much as possible with your legislature and with your governor. You need to get out there and tell these guys that we really need assistance, and that in order for settlement to be successful, we have to have cash flow. And whether that cash flow comes from a legislative appropriation, a new bill that has a defined and definite certain funding source, those are the things that we need. So the best thing I can suggest is to help me help you is to basically get the vote out and tell them that this is what you want, this is what's important to you. So those are basically my prepared comments. I guess I'll let Ms. Patel. No, she doesn't want to. Well, anyway, so I introduced her, and if you want to ask us questions, I will do the best I can to answer those questions.